Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon, David.
And how are you today, my friend?
Nobody's joined us yet.
Sorry?
I see we've got no one has joined us yet.
As I say, I did the problems with streaming this one, David. I'm sure
Right.
people will join us shortly. Yeah, that was an alternative stream that I don't know about. Hopefully people will start getting here eventually. There should be notifications when out on YouTube. But as I say, Restream's got me confused, David. I might actually, because I can't stream, I've got to use the streaming thing for second one in. Sorry, folks, I might have created more than one stream. Restream's had an update and I can't even navigate it very well at the moment.
Yeah.
No notification today. Well, that'll explain it because I didn't get a chance to put a notification up to about an hour ago. Ali?
You have to understand that when Restream produce an update to their system, you've got to read the system from the very start, from page 1.
Why? Because I'm broadcasting. Are you live? I am live, Madam Director. Right, the problem was with Restream, but I think I've got the fix for Restream and Facebook.
Good.
So hopefully by the time we broadcast on Monday, we'll have it sorted.
Yeah.
And Mr. E, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
See, I mean, this isn't bloody well working properly. Get that up. Thank you very much, Mr. E. Anyway, David, before we get into this and see how long you can last, here's an update.
Well, that's simple. I've taken a bit more time with the Zimmer frame, and I've been walking about the house. I found out how to do the toilet using my Zimmer frame. So the problem with the Zimmer frame is there's no way you can carry anything.
Aye.
You can't even carry a towel or whatever, right? So consequently, it's not as useful as the wheelchair in that respect. But it's a temporary thing.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
If I need to, I can always use a plastic bag.
Anyway, is it one of these Zimmers on wheels or is it one of the fixed Zimmers?
It's got 2 wheels at the front and then stumps at the back.
Aye. That's cool. Hey, cool. So you're actually going to be getting more mobile now. And how's the eyes?
The problem with the eyes is going, but the problem is I've got a meeting with a specialist tomorrow that's coming to the house. I'll see him tomorrow afternoon after I've been at Westmark to do my training on my leg. And that's it. As you can hear, I've still not had any form of work on my speech, and I do need that person to come in and do the work on my speech.
Aye.
Because there's the thing that pisses me off most is this: it makes me sound stupid, and I'm not stupid. I know I'm not stupid.
Sound fine at the moment. Sound fine at the moment, David.
Yeah. Okay.
Melanie, there's no Facebook because I still can't get into Facebook. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And with the other David being on the day, Melanie, there's no point in me streaming a separate broadcast to Facebook when he's on with me here. Because he wouldn't be on the screen on Facebook. Well, he could have been if we had time to work it out. But it also means using 2 different devices.
Yeah.
And that complicates matters a lot. So I'll have the Facebook thing sorted out. I've got the Restream app on my mobile phone. I just need to find my wee book with the password for a Facebook on my app, on Restream, on my phone. And once I log back into Facebook on my phone, it'll automatically log me back in on the computer.
Thank you, John.
And what we got, John, the truck driving legend, still a driving god. Morning all, day off today. The weather in Dunfermline is cloudy, windy, if you want to know. And if you want to know what the weather like where you are, look at your own bloody windy. My bloody line. That's my line, John. Next thing I know, you'll be fucking broadcasting for your truck, boy.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Right, David, let's get into this. Obviously, the election of the new Labour government down that road has caused some problems here in Scotland, which are being denied by the mainstream media and everybody else. Thanks, Lauren. Every penny helps. Should be getting that money in the next couple of days. I'll get it straight back out the door.
Yeah.
So, as you know, David, we've already had to stop all sorts of things because of the cuts coming down the line from Westminster. So far, we've halted all infrastructure programmes.
Yeah.
We've halted the rollout of further socially beneficial programmes like free school meals to the 5 to 7, primary 5 to primary 7. Liz, David, you can buy a tray that sits on your Zimmer that carries stuff. There you go. Good advice for Liz, and 20 quid into the pot. That's brilliant. And Margaret says you're doing bra, David.
Thank you.
Right, so as we know, I mean, things like upgrades to schools and hospitals, that's all come to a stop. The A9 next section probably won't get the go-ahead either, even though there are 4 companies bidding to do the work now, whereas previously they didn't have anybody. What else has been stopped, to say, infrastructure programmes. And of course, the big stooshy right now is the reintroduction of peak rate rail fares here in Scotland. As you know, David, there's been a pilot that scrapped the rail fares the peak rate about a year and a bit ago. They extended it twice.
But actual passengers were going up while they were doing that, right?
Yes, that's right. And what happened was passenger levels went up, so subsidies for the doing away with the peak time rail fares was going down. But because the cuts are expected to be so deep that John say the First Minister says they cannot justify the subsidies to keep that, which is a bloody sin because we're talking about a really small amount of money here.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Margaret. Thank you. That's 2 in a row. Well done, you. So as I say, as we know, Scotland was on a projectile, a path of well-being for its people, and the government had set out plans to introduce social policies on top of the ones that we already have, that has lifted people out of poverty, increased their life expectancy, made sure they were healthier, happier, and better educated. Now, as you know, David, what's happening here is forced realignment. Because of the cuts for doing that road, we're going to be forced to realign. Now, how's the
by the way, can I just stop things, right?
Aye.
This is the point. It doesn't matter how long I last with David, right? The thing you should all take away from this today is the fact that if people don't know about this forced realignment we've got with number 10 Downing Street in England, right? Then tell them, make sure it's your job to make sure that you get that message out to people saying you realise that we are being forced to be realigned with England. And once they start, it won't realise until they lose their prescription. They'll end up paying £9 an item for prescriptions. My goodness me, that will hurt a lot of people.
So as you know, I mean, Labour in their first 4 weeks haven't they really went doing well here in Scotland. We've got freeze grannies in their houses. We've still got the child cap, which Anna Saba promised to get ready.
Yeah.
You know, and we're being forced to halt all future social policies and infrastructure programmes because of this.
What about the people that are asylum seekers?
We'll get to that.
We're going to be.
We'll get to that one. That's a
Right,
separate issue. That's the stupid story of the week so far. And we'll go to a stupid story of the week. It's all part of this, but it's a stupid story of the week because if it's a pilot, it was never launched. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Now, as I say, things like the return of peak fares, prescription charges, university tuition fees, they'll all come slowly, but they will come as the SNP are forced to roll back on things like baby boxes, free transport for the 12 to 22-year-olds, dental, free eye tests, free dental for up to 25s, all these different things. We have my social contract with Scottish Government. Is each one of them?
The point is, they won't hit all people at the same time.
Right.
What will happen is, because it's different items that are being pulled off at different times, you or your next door neighbour or your workmate might not notice.
Because
for example, baby boxes are really, really important. Really important.
Aye.
But you might not know about them, your next door neighbour might know about them, and your workmate might not know about them. However, they need to know. They need to know. Everybody needs to know what this Labour, aka Tory government, are doing.
Anyway, as I say, as they strip away and strip away and strip away. Now, how is the mainstream media justifying this? Well, the state broadcaster is telling us that Scotland has to stop its something for nothing culture. This isn't something for nothing. As we all know, investing in your population and their health, their education, their well-being improves your economic outlook.
Yeah.
A healthy, happy, well-educated population equals booming economy.
Yeah.
But as I say, all these things that we've done to alleviate poverty and things like that, they will all be stripped away one for one. Now, the state broadcaster and the MSN, they're trying to paint our social policies as being a something for nothing culture. It's economic literacy for doing that fucking road, but we don't expect anything more than that. But as I say, the state broadcaster especially telling us that we have a something for nothing culture. Something for nothing culture. You know, life expectancy since devolution went up about 10 fucking years, a decade. Health outcomes have improved immeasurably. The drugs is still allegedly a problem, but we do have that accountancy problem with how we measure the numbers here compared to RUK and Europe as a whole. The contributing factors part on the death certificates, as you know, David. But as I say, all the advances, the child uplift, the bedroom tax, they're all coming. They're coming for them all.
Yeah.
You know, now, what we're being told, David, is, you know, this is a something for nothing culture we've got here. It's no, folks. We actually pay for it through our more progressive tax system. The problem is that they have been so fucking economically illiterate down that road that the squeeze to the core budget through the Barnett formula is the problem. No, the Scottish tax system. The cuts coming from south of the border are the problem. And we'll get to that in a wee second, you know.
But just something we mentioned previous to the show was the fact that the tax system that we have and we employ in Scotland is very effective.
Yes.
And there is a paper out by HMRC,
but we'll get to that.
Mentions taking on the Scottish tax system in England.
Aye. No, we'll get to that when we get to Rachel Reeves' the latest fucking stupidness. But anyway, so more doom and going to come. But what you've got to ask yourself, David, is I remember this stuff. Broad shoulders of the Union. Was that not just 2 weeks ago when the JERS figures came out?
It's ridiculous. It really is. Broad shoulder of the Union is probably the biggest joke ever thought of.
You know, here we are being forced to actually deprive our economy and worsen our economy with all these cuts.
Yeah.
You know, as you and I know, David, every pound spent in the public sector brings in 4.
Yeah.
It's money well spent. But as I say, this is so much for the broad shoulders of the Union, and the screaming for the top of their lungs 2 weeks ago for the cuckoos and the nest that Scotland benefits greatly for being in this union. I fucking heard that. Fucking heard that. So let's move on to the comedy, as that's what we tend to get from news up here. You know. But before we do move on, what I will say is what's coming down the line. I remember a wee boy standing in George Square the day after that referendum saying, hell slap it into them. They haven't suffered enough.
Yeah.
Well,
in actual fact, this was discussed by many people throughout the Indian movement at that time, is that people in Scotland haven't suffered enough to make them go for independence. And what's going to happen here is, see if Starmer and co push this through, whereby Scotland is brought into line with England. Yeah, we'll have gone through enough pain. People will choose for independence.
That's the thing. The reason why the state broadcaster is taking this something for nothing attitude along with the press is they know that Labour's going to have a problem squaring this when it comes to the 2026 election.
Correct.
You know, they know that Labour here in Scotland's got a big problem. Anna Sarwar promised to get rid of the two-child cap.
Yeah.
Anna Sarwar promised no cuts. You know, that will help a bit. Thank you very much. 74 or Ange Peel. Anyway, as I say, this just shows you what how poorly the state thinks of the people. When you think about it, to scrap universal,
David, it's not a case of what the state thinks of the people, what the state thinks of itself. Starmer doesn't give two frigs about the people. He only gives a fig about himself and his power base, which is the Labour Party as it's got into number 10 Downing Street.
Well, as I say, it does tell you how poorly, I mean, you talk about freezing grannies, it's not going to affect the southeast.
Yeah.
We're talking about the northeast, the northwest, the islands. You know, even here in the central belt, it can get bloody well cold. You know.
Yeah.
Apparently, I need new glasses. Thanks. Right, but anyway, let's move on to the Tory party leadership race, shall we? This will take long.
Yeah, it's a Tory party leadership in Scotland.
Branch office race, yes.
Yeah.
We're in the Scotland section. The Tory party race down that road's irrelevant. But anyway, okay, Tory party branch office race here is back on, David, as we know, right? And there are 3 candidates left, right?
What the fud? Right,
anyway, there's 3 candidates left in the race for this poison chalice of branch office manager here in Scotland. Russell Finlay, Megan Gallagher, and Murdo the Fudd, as you pointed out. Now, the 3 that are back to, which is Liam Kerr, Jamie Green, and Liam Kerr, Jamie Green, who was the other one? Colin Beattie. They've all backed out saying they're going to back Murdo Fraser in this race. But David, I mean, my prediction is that Russell Finlay will win this, and you maybe know why.
Murdo isn't going to get anywhere because the chances are, as you pointed out quite correctly, is that he is going to try and pull the Scottish Labour away from English Labour.
Scottish Tory.
There isn't enough money to run a Tory party in Scotland.
Aye, he's going to try and pipe. Well, when he stood against Ruth Davison after Annabelle Goldie stood down.
Yeah.
Then of
but,
course.
Let's just talk that through, right?
Right.
When Scotland becomes independent, do you honestly think it will be SNP all the way? No. what will happen is we will find our legislature full of little individual parties, the same as you see in European the legislatures, right? And what will happen is we will have a Tory party in Scotland. It'll be called something else.
Well, anyway,
it'll be filled with other people within the Tory party
as you
who
know,
will want to be part of that. Simple as that.
as you know, but as you know, the reason why Murdo no win is because they can't afford to break the party. The party members know that he tried it. He was going to try it the last time. The party members won't vote for him. And of course, there's the other reason why Murdo won't win, and that's because he's never fucking won an election.
Yeah.
And all the time he's been in that parliament, he's been elected MSP. And the one election he has run, the leadership election against Annabel Goldie, he fucking lost it. Against Davis.
Is that 21 years he's been a party? No, hang on. How many years? 1998.
23 years.
2010 was 12. 2020 was 22.
24 years.
Yeah, it's nearly 24, 20, 26 years of getting on.
Well, anyway, as I say, but Murdo's never won nothing. But as I say, my prediction is that Russell Finlay will win it, and that Megan Gallagher will come second, and she will become his deputy, because she's Douglas Ross's deputy for the last couple of years. And as you know, David, Douglas has upset that many people in the Tory party. 2026, they're going to deselect him.
Yeah. If they don't, then there's something wrong. But I figure they will. They'll just deselect them.
Thanks, Roshan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's awfully generous of you, especially as you're in Ireland and we only really distribute the money here in Scotland. So thank you very much. So as I say, Murdo's not going to win it. He's no, but it doesn't matter who wins it. Now, Murdo is making it quite clear this time round that he does not intend to split the party from the main body of the Conservative Party down that road. But with 10,000 members, David, you and I know that they just don't have the wealth here in Scotland to run the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
It's the same with the Labour Party here in Scotland, sure. Yeah. Right, now this one's a stupid one, David. And that's this week's SNP bad story. And it would be funny if it was not for it being effing tragic. Now, the bad story is that the SNP's had to cancel something that it hadn't started yet. Once again, duty cuts coming down the line. And we were talking about this, and this is the asylum seeker thing, David.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I wanted to do this an individual segment was because we keep hearing through the right-wing media that the asylum seekers are taking all the housing and getting all the benefits when the facts do not bear that out.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why the Scottish Government and the Greens, when they were in coalition with the Scottish Government, wanted to institute free travel for asylum seekers here in Scotland is because, and across the UK it'll be the same, but if you are in what's called non-catered accommodation in Scotland, meaning you're in a wee flat, right, a single asylum seeker gets £49.89 a week to live off of.
That's for everything. That's for everything.
Electricity, that's for heating, lighting, cooking, food, hygiene, clothing, absolutely everything across the board. And we get this, so much for these right-wingers, asylum seekers coming here, stealing our jobs, taking all the benefits. If you are in an asylum hotel in the UK, you get £8.88 a week cash. That's it. Yeah. And that's to cover things like hygiene. You know, that's it. Buy a bar of soap and a tube of toothpaste.
All they've done is effectively push these people into criminality. Some of that.
Working in the bar.
You cannot live on that. You cannot live within those means, and so therefore you are forced to do criminal actions, like working a car wash, whatever, right? Working a kitchen behind the scenes in an Indian restaurant, right? Yeah. It's stupid. It really, really is. these people could be earning proper wages,
paying taxes.
contributing to our society, all the rest of it properly. Instead, they're pushed into this situation.
And Chris has worked it out. It's £7 a day for those in non-catered accommodation. That's correct, Chris.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Get to now, the reason why this is so tragic, having to cut this programme before it's even started, even though it's a non-story, David, because it hasn't started. It's not something they were ever given in the first place. It was something we wanted to give them.
Yeah.
And once again, the mainstream media did tell us it's down to cuts coming down that road through Westminster.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, when you get that little money, if you've got to go to the doctors, you're not buying that bar of soap if you're in a hotel that week.
Yeah.
If you've got to go to a lawyer's, you go to get a bus. And of course, one of the big reasons for it, David, and wanting to give them free travel was it would get people who are here in the asylum system integrated into society because they're travelling on public transport along with everybody else.
Yeah. Dead right.
So, David Nye's right. You can't live on £49 and fucking 88 pence.
Wait, it's crap. That is pushing people into criminality. Simple as that.
I stick more than that in my electricity meter a week, David.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not spending it at this point in time, but I just got me a letter in for OVO, actually. Right here, giving me my summary of my electricity bill for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
For 11,020 kilowatt hours, I paid £2,651.72. Wow. 2021, I was spending 900 quid a year in electricity.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. But we'll be talking about that shortly. So as I say, I mean, the fact that we can't start this pilot programme is a tragedy for asylum seekers. Everybody in their dog calling SNP bad for no starting this pilot when it's not got the money. It's not going to have the money to run the pilot or to run it a long term.
Yeah.
So
I think this is a year that we are going to see people finally realise what it was that SNP gave to us.
Yes, this is going to be the year when they start to realise the advances we've made under devolution.
You only miss it when it's gone.
Yep, as I say, this next couple of years is going to be where we're going to see the advantages that we got for an SNP government using the full extent of the powers of devolution, and we're going to watch it all be stripped away bit by bit.
Yeah. Remember, as a devolved government, they still have to do as Westminster tell them. Some of that.
I mean, see, the other thing that was making me laugh is now, David, when the GERS figures come out, it's no longer Scotland's deficit, it's Scotland's nominal deficit.
Yeah.
It's because everybody knows the figures are bollocks, and the fact Scotland doesn't run any debt or have any debt whatsoever. It's illegal for Scotland's local authorities in Scotland and Scottish Parliament to not have a balanced budget at the end of each year.
Look up the word nominal in the dictionary. You've got a dictionary on your telephone. Just go ahead, look up the word nominal. You'll realise that it really doesn't mean anything. When they talk about a nominal deficit for Scotland, nominal means nothing at all.
Made up. But you know what, David? What we're learning here is people get what they fucking voted for.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, we can actually say to Labour voters, this is what you voted for.
Yeah, okay. David, to be honest with them, stupid or not, what they were doing was they were voting Labour to try and get rid of Tory. They didn't realise what Labour were going to do. So therefore, we really, really do need to pull people back to SNP.
The interesting thing about it, David, is it Disney, because it's Westminster, it wouldn't matter if we'd have sent 59 SNP MPs fucking down there.
Yeah.
They would have still had a whopping majority. And they would have
I agree with that. do agree with that. But this time, going into the Scottish election to 2026, people really need to get back to SNP, big style.
Aye. Well, I think they will because of with the direction of travel going on. Now, this one, David, is headline news today, and that is that Scotland's Drug and Alcohol Minister, Christine McKelvey, to step back from her ministerial duties
Yeah.
to receive treatment for secondary breast cancer.
Christine was brilliant. Christine was absolutely brilliant. And the fact that this is the second time he's gone through this with this particular disease, I really do. I feel for her, and I wish her all the best.
Now, David, let's give the audience a bit of background on Christine, shall we?
Yeah.
Christine came, our first stint in the Scottish Parliament was 2/7 to 2/11, I think it was, and she was a list MSP for the Central region. She then went on in 2011 to win her seat of Hamilton, Larkhall and Stonehouse, which she's held to this day, and she's held in very high regard by her constituents.
Yeah.
Christine's had several ministerial posts, all of which she's done to the best of her capabilities, and she's had an exemplary career. Now, obviously, we all wish her well, and we all hope it's a speedy recovery. Now, a lot of women don't make it through secondary breast cancer, David, as you know. And Christine's story is a bit similar to my mother's story. Christine went into remission at 51. She's 56 now at the back. That didn't end well for my mother. I hope it ends well for Christine. You know. And of course, I'm sure the audience all wished her well as well.
Well, you've heard her speaking. You'll find well what a loss she would possibly make. I'm not speaking out of turn there. It's like all I'm saying is I wish Christina all the very best.
Aye, and now John Swinney's told her, look, concentrate on your recovery. Don't think about anything else but your recovery. And your ministerial position will be waiting for you when you get back. Now, her duties as drug and alcohol ministers will be taken up by the health minister, the health minister, Neil Gray, and it will also be shared by one of his secretaries. You know, the duties will be shared between there and the public health minister.
Yeah.
Or the social care minister, whatever one it is. Right. So we wish Christine well. Sorry to hear that it's returned. Right, let's move on, David. This one interests me because Edinburgh's had a lot of problems, really, with tourism, especially when it comes to the rate that people can charge for short-term lets in Edinburgh, which has affected the housing stock in Edinburgh. And as we know, in October last year, David, Edinburgh Council took steps to introduce a licensing scheme for short-term lets. That way they could recognise them all and regulate them, and also clamp down and say, no, in this area, it's residential, you cannot be an Airbnb. You know, so, but the other thing about it is, you know, with Edinburgh, and the Airbnbs and all that is, they're having a vote now on introducing a tourist tax, David. A 5% tourist tax to all.
This is something that I personally agree with, because having been in several towns or cities around about the Mediterranean, whatever, it's like you get charged a tax for landing, a landing tax, as it were, right? If you're on a boat or whatever, right? And as far as I'm concerned, we pay it, and that means that people that come to Scotland, to Edinburgh, to see our sovereign city, then that's the one that they should be paid. Something like that, a tourist tax.
Jordy, don't worry about burning your arse. The candle's no getting real and democracy's dead. But no, it's not your fault you're late this time round, mate. It's my fault. Reece Teams had an upgrade, and I'm still learning to navigate the studio. the new studio. Okay. Now, of course, David, we both agreed that this tax, it's a tax that's in existence right across Europe. It would be a reasonable idea. Now, Edinburgh Council hope to raise £50 million a year from the tourist tax, and the money, £5 million apparently, will go towards housing.
Yep.
35. Why 5 million? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. And then it goes on to percentage.
I'm not quite sure. I think it's based upon the number of people they've got year on year visiting the Edinburgh, right? That's where the 5 million coming from.
No, I mean, that 5 million just been allocated to housing out of the 50 million target they've got to raise.
Right, sorry, 50 million. Yeah, it come from the number of people visiting Edinburgh year on year. That even includes the special Almanac program. You know, the all the exhibitions that are on within Edinburgh during the year.
Right.
So therefore, that does give them the figure of 50 million.
Aye, but as I say, 5 million out of 50 million is to be allocated to housing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's the last total figure you get. Then it moves on to 35% to go back into the arts and arts venues, because that's what draws a lot of people to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Especially now with the festival being on.
Yeah.
And the rest of it's to maintain and improve the city centre and make it a better experience for guests, for visitors, and of course the local people. So you and I agree that this is a good idea. Do you think it will spread?
I certainly think Glasgow will take it up.
Aye, I think most of the cities that have got tourist bases across Scotland, and maybe even regions like the Highlands, will take this up.
Well, Dundee would be a good one for it,
especially with being a growing city where people want to visit.
Yeah,
but I think it's a good idea. I mean, let's face it, you go to Barcelona, you pay this tax. You go to Rome, you pay this tax. You go to Berlin, you pay this tax. In fact, you don't even notice it because it's just stuck onto your hotel bill. Which brings us to another reason why these businesses are not happy: hotels, B&Bs, Airbnb, and hostels, because they're just about to become tax collectors. And they say that the increased admin is going to cost them money, and it is. But
not really. When you talk about the tax being per person per day, right? That's really easy to work out. I can assure you that's actually simpler to work out than VAT.
You just add it to the price of your overnight accommodation.
Right, that's right. So people that say, the admin's got to cost a fortune. No, isn't it? Fuck off. Don't be stupid.
And Millie would grudge paying any tax to visit Glasgow. It's only if you're going to overnight you pay the tax, Millie. But Glasgow's a wonderful city. How dare you? How dare you come down to the city, dear lady?
Don't think for a minute it's going to be like 50 quid or 100 quid a night, right? It's not. I remember
2% it's 2% of the cost of your overnight stay in your accommodation.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Sorry, 5% cost on your accommodation, your overnight accommodation.
Fair enough. If you are ending up in a place that's costing you £1,000 a night for your accommodation, then all right, okay, I do realise 50 quid maybe going to be a bit too much. But anyway, there you go.
You're paying 1,000 quid for your accommodation. 50 quid's never going to be too much. That's what you use to burn to light your cigar when you're paying £1,000 a night for accommodation.
Yeah.
50 quid notes. You know what I mean? Right, I suppose we better take a wee run down that road, David. No tax rises apparently for the working people, so that's no income tax rise was a promise, no national insurance rise was a promise, and no VAT rise was a promise. And the Labour manifesto.
I personally believe that being Labour, there's going to be a rise in the VAT eventually. They'll change that.
Anyway, now apparently this no national insurance rise only applies to workers. It doesn't apply to employers.
Yeah.
So Rachel Reeves, so we're being told, is talking about increasing the employer's contributions to national insurance from 13.2 pennies in the pound per pound earned by the worker to 14 pence and 2 pence in the pound per hour worked by the worker. And that would increase, give the Treasury a tax take apparently of 8.9 billion more a year.
It doesn't matter if you're talking about maybe 2 or 3 staff, yeah?
Aye.
But when you're talking about 2,000 or 3,000 staff, then that becomes a large amount of money.
Well, but the Confederation of Small Businesses have actually said because of the state of the economy and the state of the market, this will even hit small to medium-sized businesses.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, that would rake in 8.9 billion towards plugging that black hole she claims is there at 22 billion.
Yeah.
Now, listen, David, you were talking about this earlier. The Treasury released a document a couple of weeks ago telling the government in England, the new Labour government, that if they introduced the Scottish more progressive tax service system in England, that would raise a further 11.7 billion. So 8.9, 11.7, that's 20.6 billion. There's the majority of that 22 billion black hole plugged.
But David, do you think, honestly, that Keir Starmer, Ed Co, are going to introduce anything that had the SNP copyright mark on it?
No, I don't, David, which is a bit sad because the Treasury thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, he did. Simply will not happen.
So, but as I say, if they were to do that, that would plug that. That'd be 20.6 billion. The 1.4 billion wouldn't be a problem then.
Yep.
You know, but as I say, that the Treasury is keen on the idea, but as you say, Labour won't do it because it's an SNP Scotland idea.
Yeah. If you think about Labour for a moment, Labour have even claimed the idea that the Scottish Parliament was set up because of them.
I know.
It was not set up because of them. It was set up because the Scottish UN delegation, which was the people that were set up to actually look at the differences that happened at the time that the USSR broke up.
Aye.
Yeah.
Because of a lot further back than that, they were just all the way back to the 70s, just after the 70 referendum.
Right.
You know, but anyway, as I say, there would be solutions for Rachel Reeve, which would be fair. It would be a fair distribution of the weight that needs to be carried down that road by increasing more tax bands, the way we have in Scotland, spreading the burden across wider shoulders. But as you say, David, they're not going to do it. So let's move on. HMRC to write off pensioners' tax bills. What's this one all about, David? This is a cracker.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, once you get to pensionable age, which the UK government tell you, then you should have no more tax to pay whatsoever.
Aye. Well, what this is a projection by the OBR, okay? And when they put the projection to HMRC, the HMRC told the OBR, and this made it into the Telegraph, that they're not sending out tax bills to these pensioners because when we get to how much it is, you'll understand it costs more to collect it and what it would. Under current system. Now, why are they worried about having to send tax bills out to millions of pensioners? Well, the entry level tax threshold at a 12,570 is frozen until 2028 under the fiscal rules that are in place at the moment.
Yeah.
But because of the triple walk-on pensions are expected to rise by 4.5 in 2025, and 4.6 in 2026, which means by 2026, taxpayers, pensioners here their basic state pension would be £12,572. Right? Now, that puts them into income tax rates. So, now the reason why the taxman said he's not sending out bills is because he says he cannot collect it at source. I don't know why that is. They're issuing the state pension.
Yeah, it's because it's a different system.
I know. I think it's still the old jail bank system or something like that. Anyway, what do you call it? They can't collect it at source, and on that rate in 2026, the amount of tax that pensioner would be due to pay over the year would be 40 pence. 40 pence. So they'd be in the income tax level, and their tax bill each year would be 40 pence. So HMRC have said that they're no going to send out demands for 40 pence.
Looking at it pragmatically, then what will happen is that people will not be given the increase, the point of where they become taxpayers on that amount of your pension. Yeah.
Now,
so something like that.
We're talking about the basic rate pension, the basic state pension, the basic rate. Now they reckon there'll be a good few million people on it by the time this happens.
Yeah.
So all the 40 pensions would make a fair amount of money.
Yeah.
But see, it's how to collect it that's the problem.
Yeah.
So HMRC says they're just going to write it off. They're not going to bother.
But the way that tax works is only the amount by which you go over.
Yeah.
It's taxed.
That's right.
So in actual fact, it's like immediately you would be into the 20% tax bracket. So you would get 20% lopped off 40 pence.
Aye.
Some of that.
So now going forward, of course, after 26, it'll increase each year, right? Mm-hmm. But for 2028, Labour will then be able to either raise or lower the entry-level tax band.
Yeah.
And that will sort it out. You know what I mean? But as you say, state pension coming into income tax levels, it should have been in income tax levels years ago. I mean, the average state pension in France, 24 grand, in Germany, 28, Norway, 30 odds. You know, the state pension here is a joke.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
It is, most definitely.
Right, this one's a cracker, David, and it's going to have all sorts of knock-ons. And that is Rachel Reeves, in 4 weeks in office, hasn't plugged the £22 billion black hole or come up with any ideas to tell us how she's going to do it. I've just come up with a couple. She has just got, there is one being floated out of the Treasury, as I say, employers' national insurance rate. But now, apparently, she has increased the black hole to 27 billion in 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that's through public sector pay deals.
Yeah.
Now, David, as you know, we all agree that the public sector deserve decent pay.
Yeah, but also the fact of the matter is that the Labour rely upon their funding from the unions.
Some of them, yes.
So therefore, Rachel Reeves will have had her arm put up her back.
Well, that's what the Conservative Party are claiming. The Conservative Party are claiming that, and what they've done is they went and done their sums and had a look at how much each front bencher has had in individual payment or donation from the trade union movement. Now, as we know, the trade union movement normally give a block to the party, not individuals. But in this particular case, for the front benchers in the Labour Party, they've put up individual donations by these trade unions. Now, I didn't know that trade unions were allowed to do that. I thought that they give a block to the party. But anyway, so they're claiming that the reason why the public sector are getting such good, are getting the pay rises they're getting, and they do deserve them, is because they've all been paid by the unions to give public sector workers more money. Apparently, that's the Tory party claim. Now, David, as I say, that's $5 billion more expenditure she's created per year, basically. Minimum $5 billion, right? So that's increased the black hole to 27 billion. And
Yeah.
we're also being told that it has having an effect on inflation.
Yeah.
And that will put the brakes on the Bank of England bringing down interest rates.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, we spoke about this earlier, right?
Uh-huh.
Even with the numbers the way they are at the moment, right? You'd be easier bringing people up by a few rungs. If
Yeah.
you take the analogy with a ladder, right?
Aye.
You take everybody up by a couple of rungs. Then, in actual fact, the overall effect on the UK would be minimal, because therefore you start to get better productivity out of each worker.
Aye. But David,
Simple as that.
as you and I know, right, they're taking the inflation, as you pointed out earlier, they're taking inflation out of the monthly cycles. And at this point in time, it's ticked up from 2% to 2.6%.
Yeah.
That's put the brakes on the bank economy, bringing interest rates down. That puts the brake on the economy, actually, because nobody can afford to buy a house or invest.
Right.
We're still in the realms of economic illiteracy. And of course, as we know, Rachel's talking about cutting the public services. Now, as we've already spoken with David, by investing in the public services, you increase the tax take to the Treasury. Every pound spent into the public sector, £4 is generated.
Yeah.
So it's just economic stupidity. Not to give people pay rises, but to watch the Tories attack it. But what they're not attacking the fact that they've agreed with the pay bodies doing that road 5% across the board, 14% for train drivers, 25% for doctors. As you know, David, the trade unions want wage restoration. They want it so that people who have had a decade of pay rises, pay stagnation in the public sector, they want pay restoration. Not going to happen. 5% across the board is no bad when your inflation rates 2.7%.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say, it's all just daftness, really. They've got to learn that in order to have a healthy economy, you need to invest in the public.
Yeah. Got to invest in your people. You must invest in your people. And Rachel Reeves will never get that. Never, ever get that or understand that.
No, I mean, as I said in the last programme, they never even seen it. This is a woman that claimed to have learned economics sitting at her mummy's kitchen table watching mummy tick off the checking account against the bank statement to make sure every penny was accounted. This woman's an economic illiterate.
Yeah.
And she will be carrying on the economic illiteracy that we've seen since the Margaret Thatcher days.
Yeah.
As I said in the last programme, David, you might not realise this, but she's already announced the first PFI infrastructure programme down that road, a new Thames crossing.
Yeah.
And as I explained in the last show, if she printed that money, built the bloody infrastructure herself, she wouldn't have spent any money because she's got an asset, and that asset starts earning the minute it's open. Now, how does that asset, that bridge, make money? Well, it increases flow to market and interconnectivity between markets. That's how that infrastructure plays. These people don't understand this stuff.
No, they don't. They don't.
Economic illiterates.
Yeah.
Absolute economic illiterates, David. Which is quite funny to watch. Right, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so US is in Israel, and they're starting to get pissed off with Bibi Netanyahu, because no matter what the US are trying to do, he won't agree to a ceasefire. And as we know, Joe Biden's at the Democratic convention this week, and he's trying to make his legacy before he leaves office in January 20th next year, that he has put an end to the war, or an end to the slaughter in Gaza. But as I say, the Americans are starting to get a bit annoyed with Netanyahu because he's no plane. Sticking with America, of course, as we know, Donald Trump started to go la-la as him and his running mate Mike Pence were doing the tubes, while Kamala Harris and her new running mate Mike, whatever his name is, looking through the bloody roof.
Just to stop people, right? You have to remember, when you are backing the Democrat Party and Kamala Harris, effectively what you are doing is you are backing the Tory party, as we saw in the UK, right? And the Republicans are like another Tory party. So, so roughly it's the same as what we've got here with Labour and Tory, both Tory parties, right?
Yeah.
One got out and the other one got in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no change was affected.
So you're going to see one perhaps Tory party in America succeed over another Tory party.
Aye.
Something like that.
It's exactly what happened here, David.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's going on in America and Israel. They say Netanyahu's just no point, and the other conflict that would be getting constant report on. The Ukrainian situation. Ukraine says it's destroyed second Russian bridge. I was talking about that last time out. Russian police blessed fire trucks as huge blaze continues after Ukrainian attacks in the mother country.
And the Iranians, who are expected to come down hard on Israel, may now back off what they're saying and still have some kind of hit against Israel, but it'll be purely
Economic.
no. It'll be no. It will be a hit. They'll do a hit, but it'll be smaller than what was expected.
Aye, as I say, and to be fair to the plucky Ukrainians, they've managed to hold on to the area of Kursk they've taken for the Russians. As I say, for the time being. Aye, Donald is mentally incompetent and he is losing his marbles. Right, David, well done. You've made it through the hour.
Yeah. I didn't feel tired this time.
No, you're still sounding quite good as well. So that's the main thing. So rest up over the weekend. We'll see if we can do it all again on Monday, shall we?
I'll sleep from the end of the programme to the beginning of the next programme.
Try waking up every now and again and putting the news on, will you? It helps.
All I do is sleep with the news on, so what's happening with the subconscious getting the input, you know.
Now, viewing figures are great considering we're having to get Facebook where it's 174 live, which is a great viewing figure for a YouTube channel. But we will have that. I will have that sorted out. I'll find that wee black book. I will get logged.
Remember, guys, what I said. The important thing is that all the cuts and everything are coming Scotland's way. And if we don't manage to get that information put out to everybody, our next door neighbour, our best friend, our work colleague, that maybe don't understand all this is happening, then we do ourselves a big disservice.
Aye.
And we've got only between now and 2026, which will go like that. And you'll find that here we will be at 2026. The chance of a proper election, independence election, and it's not going to happen because we haven't told our next door neighbour, our best friend, or our work colleague. All right, they need to know, and it's your job. Okay.
Well, you need to excuse the ice cream van there. It is the summer, the weather's not bad, park's busy, kids like their ice cream. Right, David, that just leaves a couple of things left to say. Please hit the subscribe button. Thanks very much to the moderators for moderating. Thanks very much to the viewers for all your donations to the food banks today. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and that just leaves one thing left today, David.
Bye, Davey. Bye, guys.
Bye, David.